Okay. Hola. ¿Cómo está? Oh, good morning. Okay. So for today's lesson, what we're going to go through is we're going to talk about one, how to set up logos on the header. Two, how to utilize the various different styles of headers and what they look like. And three, I'm going to try to go through the layer slider as well. So first, we're going to do how to set up your logos to appear on the page. So what you'll do first is, what I've done is I've set up this temporary site so that I can do my training on it so it won't affect anything. So you'll have to do the same thing on the Total Tech Pro site. But I wanted to do this so that it doesn't affect what you've already done on your website or the one you're working on. So as you can see, it looks exactly the same as I'm going to, a little bright. There we go. As you can see, it's the same as basically what you've got. So the first step when we're trying to add logos is we have to come down, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the QO'd options with you because this is a very important part of this theme, and you have to utilize these options fully. So let's click on QO'd options. Now what you'll see on the left side of the screen here is all of the different options that are available to you with QO'd. And this is your main panel for how you change the options in the theme. In the general options, I think I've already showed you before, you can set up, really, I would encourage you not to use this for the main colors and things because it's too overriding. I haven't been happy with how it changes the colors across the theme. I'd rather do that on a page-by-page basis or on an individual basis somewhere else. This is more global. These changes affect the website as a whole. So if you have something that you want just globally changed, you do that here. So I'm going to leave most of these alone. I would set the initial width of the content, though. I like at least 1,300 pixels. That's a new button that they've added, so strange. Okay, so as you come down here, you're just going to scroll down, and you're on the General tab still. So you're going to scroll down. Here's where you're going to add the favicon. It's very important to put a favicon on. That puts that little icon at the very top tab. So what you're going to do is you're going to take, I've attached the favicon to the Asana project tab for you with another task to add the logos. And I've attached the favicon there so you can find it there. But basically what you do is you would hit the upload button, you'd select your files. I'm going to choose the favicon from here. Click open. I'm going to give it a little bit of SEO here. Yeah, so I can add a little alt text for SEO purposes. That might change later as I put it on probably not, because that's more of an overriding thing. So there it is. It's ready. I want to get rid of some of these things. These are just cluttering up. I don't want them here. Pardon me while I house clean. Okay, so now you've got that done. Come down here to the bottom right, select the image. Select the image, and poof, your image is there. And you save that now, and go and up here on the left-hand side, I always do this. I'll right-click. I want to open that in a new tab so I can see the training, my site, what it looks like. And if you notice, It's not there yet. It'll be there one of these days. Let's see if I did that right. Let me do this again. Some reason that didn't work. Okay, I know why. Let's try this again. Select files, this, open. Sorry about that. It's early in the morning and I just am not thinking. I'm just going to select that image. I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so there it is now. So then I put your image here in the file. I'm going to save that. And what we do, who's he? I don't know. Go away. Don't bother me. And then what we're going to do is we're going to refresh this site. Now you should see the Favicon up there. Okay, so then his Favicon appears right here. See? So that's what we want. Next, what we're going to do, so that's how you add the Favicon, is in the general icon. You come down here and add it right here. So let's move on to the logo. For the logo, what you're going to do is right below it is another click here for logo. So you're going to click here on this logo, and this will give you a number of loading options. I would load the logo into all of these that you can so that you don't have this stupid bridge logo showing up. But so we're going to upload the logo here. Same basic process. We're going to upload a file. Total Tech, open that. If you want, you put your SEO in now, or you can do it later. Select that image. Okay, so we're going to do that for all of these. Looks like we need to clean up some things on this, don't we? But that's not going to really affect anything up here because you won't see it. But I can clean those up with Photoshop. I see what you're talking about there. I think you mentioned that. And we'll do it for the mobile header. I'm going to use this for the mobile header. I'll take care of that and get the cleaned up version to you. Either that, or you can take, if you have Photoshop, you can just go in and clean the background up of that up. Yeah, I think you know how to do that. If not, let me know. And then you can set the height here. I'm not going to do it right now because I don't really care. So that's how you set up the logos. Basically, you come here and I just set that logo up in each one. Now let's go through each one. This one is just for the normal setup for the header size. When you set the header image to light, it would show this one. When you show that, if you set it to dark on the image, it would show this one. For your sticky headers that I'm going to show you, it's going to draw from this logo here. For the fixed advanced, it was going to draw from this logo here. That's why it has all different logo positions. And for the mobile header here and so forth. So that's that. Okay, so let's proceed now to the header. Does that make sense? Okay, let's see what we got right now. So we're going to, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. So we're going to just refresh this, and we should see that bridge turn to the logo for Total Tech Pro. So there it is right there. So now let's go through some different header options. If we go to the header, it's going to show switch to left menu. This will put a menu on the left side, and we will probably use that occasionally, so just keep that in mind. We don't want the header in grid. I don't like that option, so I turn it off. You have a number of options. It's on fixed right now. If we go to regular option, we can see what change it makes to the header by just clicking here and doing a little refresh. See, on the regular, so what it does is it puts it on the far left side. You can adjust this through CSS script under this by, it's called Q underscore logo. Q, the letter Q underscore logo would be the class name for this particular thing. By the way, if you ever are curious what the class name is for an item to change it, email me and ask me, because I have had to research all of the class names for the elements in this stupid theme. So just ask me and I can let you know what the class name is. Worst case scenario, if I'm not available, you can always come in here, right click on this, hit inspect, and it should be able to take you here. And if you look, you can see it says logo 2, but the class reference here, right here, you see right there, it says Q underscore logo. That's what the class is for this. And that's how, generally by doing that process, you can find out what the classes are for each of these elements. And you should be able to know that. I'm just probably teaching you something you already know. So anyway, moving on. So now we have tried the regular. Okay, well, we don't want it to write. So you've got fixed, you know that. They got the minimal, I never used that. Fixed advanced, let's try that, see what that does. When we save that, come up here, let's see what it does to the logo and see where it puts it. On the fixed advanced, you'll notice it puts it in the center and gives you a much wider header. It also is giving you this for the side menu, which you can disable if you don't want it. The sidebar menu. Sometimes I like it, and I can move this icon over here, and as I've done with some sites. So Total Tech Pro there, would have to do some CSS script probably to move it down, or I could simply come down here on the header and enable, if I scroll down, you'll find, where is it? Let's scroll up. Into the side area. Never find it. Oh, where is it? Come on, pop. Come on. Header, and grid. I'm not thinking this morning. You can enable the top area anyway. Hey, excuse me. No, that's annoying. No. There. So here it is. So it says show header top area. We're going to say yes. And we're going to tell it nothing right now. We're just going to save that. I'm going to show you what that does. When you enable this header top area, it's basically going to put the top header above this Total Tech Pro. So now you've got a section above here that it's just going to be white. But if I put a widget in here on the left or the right, you'd see that show up right here, as in my site. Let me show you real quickly. So when you go to my site, for example, you can see right here that this is in the top header section. This SEO social media content, that's in the top header there. And this is a widget in the right side, which I put in. You can't make the green if you can't be seen. So here again, I'm using that top menu to that advantage to add some. I like that. It gives me some areas to put some extra content in. All right, let's go back here. So but it puts it in the middle. So I say, okay, I don't want that. So let's go back. Let's go back up here to the header selections. Okay, that's fixed advanced. Well, what if I wanted the sticky header? I use that sometimes. I like that because when you scroll down, it'll put the menu underneath. That's a neat function sometimes. Let's save that, and let's see what that does to the site when I use a sticky header. Okay, so it puts it on the side again, but you'll notice when that's not going to do it, is it? Probably because I don't have any content in there. I really should probably be showing you this on yours. But play with it, and what will happen is usually, let's stick on mine. What happens is that you see here, when I scroll down, bam, it puts the header here and it puts the content there. I need to add some background to that. Thanks for reminding me. But you see how now as they scroll down, they'll always have the menu there to look at. That's what the sticky does. So I like that. I'm using it for my site, so there you go. So that's how, basically, those are the header positions. And you have, of course, the sticky advanced and divided, and you just have to look. The divided basically just divides the site. But if you use these, you just have to try them and see if it's a look that you like. When I do that, it puts that there, and you know, you really can't see it on here. But so you just have to play with it. But that's how you get the logo to show up right there. Okay, so that's your logo options. You've got to fill in the logo section of here. Header, footer. This is how you format your title. So this is available. This same screen is available on each page too if you scroll down at the bottom. So all these commands are, you can do this here, and it commands it globally. And then you can overwrite it on the pages if you want individually by going to the same section on the bottom part of the page. That make sense? Okay. So that's how we do that. Let's dismiss a few of these notices. They're just annoying the crap out of me. Okay. Hi, Eric. Bye. People have no other thing to do probably at work than post on Facebook. Please, people. Okay. So general went through logo, went through header, went through footer. This is, you mentioned on your thing that you didn't know how to put the footer in. Here's where you format your footer. On your footer, you want, this is an interesting thing. I use it here. It's called uncovering footer. Let me show you that effect. As you come down, you'll see that what happens. See how it uncovers it like that? So it's like the body. That's what that effect does. See, it lets your content slide up and reveal the body. I like that effect myself. So you don't have to always use it. It's kind of fun to use occasionally, though. I like that. Let's go back here. Footer background image. Here's where you can upload your footer background image. What I did, just to show you, I uploaded it here. It'll put it in this section right here. The footer has two sections. This is the upper section, and then the section down here where you put in the copyright information. And remember to put in designed by RLJ Online Marketing with a link to our website. Okay, we need that. That's very important. Link to our website down here in the All Rights Reserved section. Okay, so yeah, so let's go back. Let's go back here. Okay, so that's you can show the footer top. Now, if I click no here, then this part here will not be seen. You won't have this section here to add special stuff to. This is where you'd put your menu, by the way. I would put your menu here in this header top. And the way you, again, the way you reveal that is you have to come to the bottom here, QOD options, footer, and then come to uncover footer and show footer top, yes. Footer in grid, no, I don't want it. I don't ever put it in the grid because it limits me. How many columns? You can select how many you want, from 1 column, 2, 3. You can, however you want to format the columns. And what that's going to do is that's going to basically take this, like this host monster section is a widget I put in column 1, and this slogan here I put in as a widget in column 2. Or you could have 3 and 4 as well. It gives you 4 different ways to. You could add another widget over here on the side. Watch my arrow. So that's what the columns do. It divides this top section. So the footer top columns, you can set that however you want. 1, 2, you can have 1, 2, 3, or 4. 3 or 4, and here you can even put them in percentages, so you can change how that works. And you can change the alignment of each column as well here. And you can also set footer columns to be 1 by 1. So this is helpful for responsiveness. I would set that to yes, because what happens in responsive mode when you're on a tablet or a smartphone, it'll line those up in one column so that you still see each column. That's helpful for responsiveness. You can set the background, the title, and all your color settings right here. And you can put the top background image here, right here, which is what I did here and uploaded that. I think the other background would have set here, and I didn't. I just put a color for that. So top, you can set borders for the top and bottom. Did I do that? Yeah, I put a border here, red at the top and red at the bottom there, as you can see. You can enable angled footers. I don't use them much. They're kind of they're kind of goofy looking. Now, show the footer bottom. Yes, that's the section down here that's red. You'll know, and here you can put in the same kind of options. You know, you can format that however you'd like, including a background image on the footer bottom. And then you save your changes, and it goes into effect. So when we look at our site, then how long have we been going here? Hopefully this will. All right. So when we look at our site, then we've got our footer section down here. And then you ask, well, how do I put something in the footer section? That's a good question. Good question. Glad you asked that. How you put it in is through the form of widgets. So what you do is you have to come here to Appearance. See on your column, scroll down to Appearance, and over here, and it says Widgets, and we're going to click on that. In the widget area, it gives you all of these options to add to the sidebar. So if you wanted to put a menu, for example, you could use this custom menu button. And if you've already gone to menus here, and on this right below widgets, you can see menus, and that's where you format your menus. If you format a special menu and call it, say, footer menu, you can actually call it here by clicking on this, and then you would add it to the footer bottom center or left or right, whatever. We could put it on left. And if we add that widget, it's going to say, okay, custom menu. So then you come over here to this section, and it shows you what you just added in. You just added that in. No menus have been created yet. Okay, we don't have a menu created. Let's, just for fun, let's save that so we have that. And let's go and create a menu right now. So we're going to go to Menus. And I'm going to have to, I don't have any pages set up, so I'm going to have to create a new menu. And I'm going to call that menu Footer Menu. And okay. First, let me just create the menu. Sorry, I've got to come and add some pages, or else I don't have any. Oh no, I don't. Never mind, I don't. So I've created my footer menu, and I'm just going to put some, I don't know, some custom links in here. Just let's just add that to the menu so that's a menu item. This is a lot faster than doing pages. I'll just put a few of my sites in here. Let's get that, and let's just put in. We'll just put that in here. Let's add that. So that will be our three menus. So basically, you'll have something to see here. So I'm just going to save that. Now you've created your footer menu, okay? This is obviously not how you would do it, but I mean, you get the idea. So we'll go back to widgets. And then we're going to go back to our footer bottom left. I believe that's where we had it. Yes, there's a custom menu, and we're going to click on the custom menu. This time we're going to select it from the select menus, because now it has a menu. So there's our footer menu. We're going to put that in, hit save. And now, Oh, wait a minute. That's in the bottom left, isn't it? I just thought of something. We want that to be in, let's put it in footer column 2. I don't really want it to be in the bottom menu. So I'm going to put it in, and you can just click on it and drag it to move it to whatever thing you want. So we're going to put it in the column 2. Let's see what that does. So let's hit this. Now you'll see it's in column 2 right here. See RLJ, but okay, well that doesn't work for me. So let's put it in footer column 4 and see what happens. Okay, your mom. Okay, let's just say we want to add some posts as well. Let's add recent posts to column 1 just so it can give us something for that column. Of course, I'm not going to have any posts, am I? Anyway, you get the idea. So then what I do is put that here, and of course it might move that over. I'm not sure if it will or not, but yeah, it does. So then it puts the recent posts here and moves that over. If you fill in if these columns aren't filled in, it won't automatically put it in the 4th thing. You might have to add just some empty space here or something to move that over. To put in the so that's how you would add that's how you would add the menu to the top footer portion of that. And let me show you what I've done. So that's how I added this. This is basically here. I added this widget here to the column 1 of the top footer. I added this to the column 2, 3, or 4. I don't remember which. It doesn't matter because there's nothing in these other columns. Now, it's the same concept here for all rights reserved. You know, you said you did a text box for the copyright, which is fine. Although I think there might be one here. There's a call to action that I put on mine. You'll notice I used this call to action right over here to put a contact us button on the very bottom footer on the right. I like that because then they can contact us here too. And I used this call to action widget right here. I just clicked on that and I put footer bottom right, clicked it, and then I formatted it. So you just have to play with that and stuff like that. So, okay. Getting back to it. Where are we at now? Okay. So does that answer that question? So to add anything to your footer or header, stuff like this, you would just use widgets and you would add them to the in the widget section here of appearances and just add them to these different sections that you've got here. Very valuable. I use these all the time. For the sidebar, you can add stuff in here for the sidebar, which I'm going to have you do for some things as well, because I want to be putting some advertisements in there and things. Header top left and all these, you can play with those and just see where just get yourself a widget put together of text saying this is a fun text widget, and then just experiment by dropping it into these different footers, and you'll be able to see where on the page that places those footers. This even allows us to put in a custom widget area. I haven't quite figured out, to be honest with you, how that works. If you can figure that out, great. I haven't figured it out yet. I mean, I put it in there, but I don't know how to assign it. You know, and I've even assigned it here, but then I don't ever see it show up on the page, so I don't know what it does. You can do some research if you have downtime and if you're bored. Okay, so that's how you do that. All right, now I want to go quickly to how to do the layer slider. Okay, so we're going to start from beginning and we're going to add a slider, and I'm just going to put a slider in here. I want to show you this because this is important. So the first thing you do is you come to all sliders, and you're going to, now we're changing gears here. We're doing the layer slider. So first thing we'll do, we want to add a new slider. So we're going to call it Bob's Slider. Woo-hoo. Okay, add slider. That's fun. Okay, woohoo. So we're going to add that slider, and it's going to put it in there for us, and it's going to say, woohoo, do. The following required plugin is, yeah, I don't really care. Okay, so then you come here, and you've got this layout right here. Now, the nice thing is you can set right here how big you want your slider. Say, I want my slider to be 1320 by 300 or 400. I could say 400. Then you can say, yes, I want it to be responsive. In responsive mode, I want the maximum width to be the same. So I'm going to put it the same. Well, let's enable full width, and that probably will take care of that. I like that because it's full width. I don't always use that. For example, if let me show you this slider here. Sometimes I'll do a slider. Sometimes I'll do a slider that's just partial. And this will show you that in a minute. Okay. Oh, why am I so slow this morning? Okay, so sometimes I want the slider to just be partial, so it's only covering like 3/4 of the screen, and that way I can, this is where you limit it. You basically determine that here in these settings, and this is where you can change that, increase it. You can also do it through CSS, but I prefer it here because it's more organic in its applying to the slider. You can hide the slider on mobile devices. Sometimes a good idea because it doesn't display well anyway. So then you go. So then you have the slideshow. This tells you how to operate it. You can have it start the slideshow automatically, start in a viewport. Pause on hover. I like that one. Start with slide 1, of course. Animate starting slides means it'll fade in instead of just popping in. I like that. I don't like it just being there. Keyboard navigation buttons, I turn that off. I don't like the touch navigation. Well, you can leave that on for touch screens or not, whatever. Leave it to 0 because it'll continuously loop. That's infinity. Or you can force it to just go through as many times as you want. Two-way slideshow, I don't ever use those. So here, you can set the background here and things. I don't usually do anything with that. You can show the next button, stop, navigation, and all these things if you want. There's thumbnail, videos, blah, blah, blah. Here's where you can add your logo. So if we were going to do that, we would just simply click this logo, insert that there, and that would add it into the slider. Let's save our changes. And down here, you see the short code. If you're going to do a PHP function, you can just program it in here, or you can just use the text box in a row section and just plug in this layer slider ID in, and then you can place that anywhere within your page you want by using that shortcode. Okay, so so let's go up here. Now we're going to go, we've done the slider settings. We're going to go to slides now. So let's click that button and let's add our first slide. So let's click the button here. Let's upload a picture. Let's see, I don't have any pictures on this. We're going to go to let's just use my images file for now for fun. Let's say we're going to upload. Let's upload this, for example. Let's do this one. Doesn't matter. You don't have any of these anyway. So it's not optimized or anything, but I don't really care. So I'm going to insert that. Now that puts my picture in there, and you'll see that it gives you a preview of what the slider is going to look like. Now the nice thing is well, you can change that there. So now I've got my first slide, and then what I can do is I can tell it how I want to transition in. For example, when I start right now, you can see that it's just showing up. So, so let's add another slide here, let's add another layer. So now here's where the layers come in for the layer slider. You've basically set the picture there. Now, let's say I didn't want to do that. No, let's say instead, I don't want the back, because that would make it the background. let's say instead I want that picture to be a layer. So I'm going to add a new layer, but I'm going to go in here, and then I'm going to choose content, and then I'm going to click to set the picture here. So we're going to click that. Now what that does is that introduces that as a layer on this slider instead of the background. Now when I enter the preview, you'll see it comes in from the side. See that? It comes in from the side. Well, I don't like that. I don't like it coming in from the side. So I'm going to go to transitions, and this offset is what determines that. So I'm just going to set that to 0. I do want it to fade in, and I don't want it to fade out, so I'm going to set that to 0. Now let's see, the duration of the time. This is how long it takes to actually transition in. 1,000, that's fine. I don't want it to delay. Okay, that sounds great. So let's add our second level. Now we can add a second level. On the second level, we're going to go to content, and this time we're going to put text in, okay? So let's put in some text here. This is Bob's layer. Okay, let's make that an H1. Whatever. You can also put code in here. So I'm going to do. I'm just going to do just some HTML coding to code in what I want this to be. So I'm going to set the style. So we're going to say font family equals what? No, not equals. Come on, Bob. Georgia. And we're going to say font size. I'm going to say, let's make that. Oh, you know what? Let's not do that right now because I don't think that's a good idea. I remember last time I did this. Forget what I just said. You can do it this way, but I realized that I would rather use their styling. So let's go up here this thing and do styles because it basically does all that for you. So right now, let's find out where is it at. It's probably being hidden by high tech, but let's do font family. Let's set it to Georgia here. Just for, let's say the size is going to be 48 pixels. Let's set the color as red, yellow. I like yellow. I don't like yellow, but it's no background, around the corners, no, word wrap. Yeah, let's do word wrap. And now let's see. We have to exit the preview. So now after we exit, if you stay in the preview mode, you can't see anything. So I exited preview. So there's our layer. Now, I don't want it sitting behind the logo, so I'm going to move it by taking the top here and put in, say, 200. That actually moves it down 200. And then I want it to be moved over, so I'm going to 200 here. Maybe make that 300, I don't know. 3,000. Yeah, 3,000, that'll work. Okay, so now, I don't really like the color, so because red's not working for me. So, and it's kind of cool because you can see what colors are going to work better for you. So, okay, so that's the style. Let's have it only. I only want it to be 20 from the top, so I'm going to make it 20 here instead of 200. Now let's say. So now let's see what that looks like. Again. Okay, so they're both coming in at the same time. I don't like that. See, what I want to do is I want to transition this in after the slide comes in. So the slide comes in, and I don't like this offset, so I don't want to do that. Again, I never use it. I don't like it coming in from the side. So I'm going to say the duration is still going to be 1,000 to come in, but this time I want it to wait 1,000 because remember the slide before was 1,000, so I'm going to set my delay to 1,000 to compensate for the first slide coming in. So now the first slide comes in, it waits for the first slide to come in, and then it's going to come in. So let's save that and see what happens. So now it'll do that, and then the slide appears. Well, that's nice, but I want it to, I want to kind of have an effect where it comes from the background. But what you can do is you come down to the scale X and Y. Now it's set to 1, but you can do any increment from 0.01 to 1. And so if I do 0.1 on each of these, Watch what happens. Now if I save that, and I come back here and enter my preview, look what happens. Zoop, now it comes in. Well, that's too fast for me, so I want it to be like, let's make that 3,000 as the duration. Okay, so we're going to exit the preview. Now let's try it again. And it comes in slower. You see, you can even slow it down even more. And you can do a rotation too if you want. Let's rotate it 0.5. I'm just playing. I've never done this before. Let's see what happens. It's kind of fun. So then when it comes in, you can enter it again, see what happens. Nothing. Okay, never mind. That's probably not where you do that anyway. Let's put in 0 there. Don't leave these blank, because if you leave it blank, the program freaks out. Oh, I see. So we can rotate the Y. Let me see what it says here. Come on. Axis from, so we can put 360. So we can go like that, right? Let me see what happens when I put in 360. Okay, so that's kind of cool. It does, to look at again, it goes, it's like it spins in and things. So doing the same thing, you can do the same thing with the x-axis as well. By putting it to 360 here, we're going to do that. And we're going to try it and see. You don't always have to save it. You can just see what it looks like. Yeah, okay, so it's doing that. That's interesting. Okay, fine. You can skew it as well. So you can do all kinds of things. And here is where you can change how it comes in. I'm going to use ease in quad, and I want it to go out the same way. So I'm going to say ease out quad. And let's see what the difference that makes. It kind of makes it more smooth as it comes in. You see, it smooths that whole thing out, so it's not quite as fast and jerky. And I like that, because I'm kind of artistic nature. I like it to look good, because it's better to look good than to feel good. You know what I mean? I think you know what I mean, because we have a connection. Okay, moving on. So we're going to exit that. Okay. Okay. Now, say that you want, okay, well, that's fine. Well, now I also want to have a picture. Let me add another layer. By the way, you can add infinite layers on here, as many as you want. You can have this thing as busy as you want. But we're going to add another layer, and this time we're going to add a picture. So let's add an image. Let's see. So let's select. I like this picture. We're going to open it. It was just me playing around with Photoshop. Okay, I love doing that. Photoshop's my fun little passion. It's my thing. Okay, well, that's pretty huge. So we're going to have to, obviously, we're going to have to shrink that down. But, so we put it in the layer. So now we're going to have to come here to layers. Let's click on it again. Let's go to styles. We want that to only be maybe 100 pixels by 100 pixels. Okay. So now if we look at it, it's sitting over here, but we can shrink the picture down automatically by doing that. Now it's sitting behind that again. So I'm going to bring it over from the left about, I don't know, 500 pixels, which should, if I exit the preview, it'll bring it over there. Oh, that's not big enough. Let's make it 300 by 300. That makes me laugh every time I see that. Okay, so top is what? We probably need to come down 50 pixels, I would imagine. And exit that. Maybe that was too much. Oh, because I put 500. Duh. 50 isn't going to do it, so we're going to put 75. Hopefully you're following this. And let's move it over left to a little bit more, say 600. No, let's say 700. Yeah, 700 is fine. Okay, so now we've got it coming in as a layer. But now let's go to transitions, because we don't want it to come in at the same time as the text. We want it to come in after the text. So first you've got this picture. That takes 1 second or 1,000 milliseconds. This one's going to take 3,000 milliseconds. So if we want this to come in after this, we have to take 1,000 for the first slide and 3,000, add those together, you get 4,000. So then we'll put 4,000 milliseconds here. Not 40,000, 4,000. Okay, and I want this to come in at the same 3,000 milliseconds delay time. Again, I don't want it coming in from the side, so I'll get rid of that. I also don't want it to have that basically controls how it goes out of the slide, how it exits. I don't like that. So I want to do the ease in quad as well. And I want it to ease out that way because it's smoother. And let's do 0.2 this time. I guess that doesn't really matter. 0.2, 0.1, it doesn't matter. You can have it. The interesting thing is you can have it start like at 0.5, not 0.5, 0.5 and 0.5, and you'll see that what happens is it, well, first, okay, so then comes in this, and then it just eases in. So that's kind of a cool effect. See, and it's got the transform origin 50%, 50%. You can read that little thing. It tells you, explains what goes on there. Each of these, if you hover over them, it gives you an explanation of what that particular function does, which is kind of cool. So now, the other thing you could do is if you want to see exactly how they're coming in, you can click on the timeline. And the timeline will show you that, okay, for 1,000 milliseconds here, and then it goes black, so it's not doing anything. This waits for 1,000, and then the light gray tells you that when the slide actually begins. Okay, so then we see if we follow that timeline back this way. How do we do that? Anyway, so we can actually watch it in the timeline go, and you can see how it actually works. So there's more on here that we didn't see. So, but anyway, that's timeline. I don't use that much. Mostly I just do it this way. So now we have our slider, and when we click the entrance, it's going to slide in like this. Now that's just one slide. Okay. Now we can still put a second slide in. So let's put a second slide in here by adding this. We're going to add a second slide. And now this second slide, we're going to say, same process basically. You're coming down here and you want to add a picture or something. So we'll upload this picture, for example. I don't care, whatever, it's immaterial. It will load here sometime. That's pretty big, that's why. You wouldn't use something this big. It's 5 meg. You wouldn't use something this big, that's fine. But I'm going to have to now size that, so I'm going to have to style it again, and I want it to be 1320 by 400. Okay, so now I've got that basically set up at the right parameters, and transitioning in, again, I don't want, so I'm going to have to set my transitions here. Put the 0. Now I do want to scale this to 0.1. Scale this to 0.1, and that's good. So now I'm going to add a new layer here, and on this layer, The content's going to be, we upload a file here. Content's going to be, let's say, this cute little lady here. I don't know who she is. I just put her on my website. It's a free image. So we're going to insert her. Again, she's too big, so we're going to styles and make her, well, since she's a rectangle, we're going to make her like 300. 200. And we're not even going to do the other height. You can leave it blank and it'll just scale it down by the width, which is nice. Or you can just fill in the height alone and it will scale it down by the height. Or you can select both and make it whatever you want. I'm going to want her to be in the center ultimately, so she's going to have to come down 50 pixels. And I'm going to want her to be in the right, so let's put 500 pixels there. Yeah, about that, maybe 520, because I want her right there in the center. Okay, now when she transitions in, obviously, we're going to wait again for 1,000. I don't want her to come in at the same time as the slide for her, so we're going to transition her to 1,000. We're going to do 0 here, 0 here again, and we're going to scale it to 0.5 and scale Y to 0.5. And we're going to change this duration to 4,000 seconds so that you can see the effect. We're going to do a skewing of 360 again here and see what happens. So now if we enter a preview, okay, so now you notice something's happening here. Well, I'm not seeing the second slide come in. What's going on? You can see it like it starts, but then it doesn't come in. Oh, that's kind of strange. What's going on? Well, here's the reason why. Let's go back here to this. You notice the duration of the slide is only 4,000. So if we want that full picture to be around, because remember, we've got 1,000 for this slide and 4,000 for this, it's got to be at least 5 seconds for that slide, or else this one won't come in. So we have to make sure that the duration of our slide is long enough so that all the elements can come in and interact. Oh, let's set this to 10 just to be sure. So that slide will be 10. This slide needs to be bigger too. We're going to set that to 10. So we're going to say each slide, well, let's not set it to 10 because I don't think we need that. We need 6, 7, let's make it 8. So here you just kind of have to guess. But so we're going to come back here. Oh, did I not save that? Let's go back here and save the changes. So I'll save the changes here. So am I losing you yet? Okay, so now let's try to see what happens now that I've made this slide longer. Comes in. Oops, she comes in. That's great. It's long enough slide. Of course, it's waiting a long time for the second slide to come in because that's my 10 seconds. And that's where you would need to adjust this so that it isn't smoother thing, see, like there. Okay? Does that make sense? And doing it that way, you can add as many of these slides sliding in as you want. Now, the preview picture can be 100%, or you can, change how you want that. You can put it right there so you can see the full preview, like that. You can even duplicate slides if you want. For example, if you say, okay, well, I like that, but I want a different picture, let's duplicate that slide. And now, so we have slide 3, and we say, okay, well, instead of her, I want to put in someone else. So we're going to go to content, and I'm going to take her out, and I'm going to put in someone else. This time I'll put this ugly guy in. Okay, it's me with a beard. Okay, so now I don't even have to change the width or anything with that. That's pretty cool. So I can just basically come in here, and on the transitions, I can just change my transitions. Well, it's already there, so I don't even have to do anything. Oh, I see why. That's cool. You know what happens when you copy the slide and then you add something into that, just change the content, it keeps the original placement parameters. So now let's see what this slide looks like. First comes in Goofy Bob. See, that's whatever is the last slide is going to be the first slide in the. You can change those around in a minute. I'll show you how. And then this slide, Bob's layer. And then this slide here. Bing. Do 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 do. And there you go. So, okay. Now, if you don't like the order, you can say, well, crap, I want this slide here. So let's go here and put this slide 1. No, I want that one there. So let's do slide that as 1. And let's say I want this to be slide 2. And let's save that. And it should change the order. So we enter the preview now, and you'll have to play with that. It puts that as slide 1. So let's say, okay, so then that might be a problem with our slider setting. Let's make sure it's starting with slide 1. So I come here, slideshow, begin, start with slide 1. Okay, animate. Okay, so anyway, you'll have to play with those. So then you just save that. And then what you do is you take this layer code here. So let's take this layer code, and let's say we're going to now add that slider to our picture. So I'm going to copy it, take it to the pages, and I'm going to add a new page, obviously. And then, of course, you have to take a minute to set your page up with the preferences that you like. One thing I noticed on your pages, by the way, just as a quick note, if you're going to be using a whole slide preview, you need to change the template type here to full width. So let's so it's got home. We're going to change this to full width, so it's the full width. Down here, we're going to come down and change some of our options that I change for every page. Well, I'm not going to do it. That's where you could do that. You would change it to make it so it's like all your other pages. Now, I'm going to enter this mode as here, and I'm going to enter a row. Now, there's 2 ways to go here. One, you could do it this way, or you could come down to the slider menu here and just put the short code here and paste in layer slider 1. Let's do that instead of what you'd put the other slider. So you can just paste it in there, and then it will be above it at the start in front of any other content you put in. So when we preview it, comes up and it says My Home, Tech Pro, and there's our slider. And because we only set it at 1320, it's not, my resolution on my screen is 1920, so it's only going to be partially. So, and so there it goes. There's the slider. Then, and the rest is history, as they say. Okay, here's our title, home. We don't have our menu set up yet. Here's our thing here. But so that's how you set the slider up, and that's why I like layer slider, though. It gives me so much flexibility over exactly how I want that slider to be. And I really like it. It's a stable thing. Qode's slider here has a lot of limitations to it. I just prefer this because I can set my elements and things. When you have to do the Qode slider, when you try to do extra content on top of the slider, changing it around and moving, it's a pain in the butt. It doesn't give you any kind of preview at all. Layer slider gives you a full preview so you can quickly change how it looks so that your final product can look really good. I think layer slider is the way to go. So it's your choice, but I prefer this. All right, so that sums it up. We've pretty much covered everything we were going to cover in this training video. Thanks for watching, and hopefully it's been helpful. give me your comments and thoughts, likes, and whatnot. And keep those questions coming, Raymond. Talk to you later. Bye.